At Silverdale, we are in a 6-week series called Making Disciples, where we are learning 6 traits of a follower of Jesus. This week, I have a conversation with Randy Thomas. Randy is the campus pastor at North Ooltewah, and we're going to talk about the message, how to share God's story. Randy, I'm so excited to be with you here today, man. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me today.
You know, one of the neat aspects of our church is we are multi-site, and we have campus pastors and campuses all throughout the greater Chattanooga area. And from time to time, you guys preach. And you actually preached this message this week as well.
I did. And typically we hear Pastor Tony about 3 times a month, and then I share about once a month. And that typically it plays out to about once per series. But this week we did get to share about sharing God's story, and it was just such a great tie-in to the week before, of where we learned how to tell our own personal story and then incorporate God's story into that.
Now, you chose 1 Corinthians 9 to preach on this weekend, which I thought was super helpful, especially the way you began. That was really impactful to me. You began, I think, where we all need to begin, and that's in helping us focus on what we value.
Yeah, I started off with Mark 16:15, where one of Jesus' last commands to us was to go into all the world and preach the good news to everyone, everywhere. And then in verse number 16 of 1 Corinthians 9, Paul says, I don't boast whenever I share the gospel. He said, that's really what I'm supposed to be doing. And then in the NLT, at the end of that verse, he says, how terrible would it be of me to have such good news and not be willing to share it? And so we started there, and then went into how Paul talked about I'm with the Jews, I'm with the Gentiles, I'm with those who are weak. Man, I do everything that I can to share the good news with everybody, because everybody is valuable. Every single person that you lock eyes with has value and is valuable to God.
Now, you brought this out towards the end of the message, which I had never picked up on, how Paul really says that 4 different times, that I do this so that I could bring people to Christ.
Yeah, he talks about each being with different groups of people. He said, when I'm with Jews, when I'm with Gentiles, when I'm with those that are weak. And he says, I don't ever forget to stay true to the gospel. But he closes all that passage out with multiple times saying, hey, but my job is to bring people to Christ. That's ultimately what it's about, is we're bringing people to Christ. So I do everything I can in every way possible to bring people to Jesus.
Yeah, but all right, for me, like I said just a minute ago, I'm always on my mind. Why do I get so distracted away from my purpose in that?
Yeah, we've got so many things going on in life. And I think even, unfortunately, if we know that we're a believer, maybe our spouse is a believer, our kids are a believer, we can kind of just be happy, hey, my family's going to heaven, and let's work our way through life, rather than realizing Mark 16:15 says we're to go into all the world and share the good news with everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility, as Paul said, and how terrible would it be if we didn't? But we just, even as Pastor Tony said, is the word sin, the middle letters I, and everything just revolves around me so many times in life. Whatever is valuable to you, you spend time on, you protect, and if it's lost, you go after it. I use the example Sunday. If you went to the gas station and pulled out your wallet to pay for your gas and your debit card was missing, you wouldn't just say, I got other credit cards, I got cash, I won't worry about it. No, you'd go looking for it. You'd dig throughout the car, you'd ask your spouse, your kids, anybody see my debit card? Why? Because it's valuable to you. And that's how Jesus says the lost, those are far from God, are valuable to him.
Yeah, we're using this devotional that goes along with the series with our family. And so this morning, we were practicing the 3 circles. Tony, you, Travis, we've been teaching our people through our messages this weekend how to use the 3 circles. And honestly, it was a little bit awkward at first, as we're trying to think through, okay, how would I put this in my own words?
But it's like anything else. The more you practice it, the better you get. And the more you practice sharing your faith, that's why even in our small groups, we're encouraging people, get a practice buddy or with your group. In my small group last week, we all went around the room and we all gave our before Christ, how I met Christ, after Christ testimony, and we all practice sharing that with each other. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Paul says in that passage, he said, I look for any way, at any time, at any place that I can serve people and I can bring the gospel to them. And so whether it's the 3 circles or whatever method it is, Look for any way that you possibly can. A lot of us have the 3 circle sticker on the back of our phone. I like to lay mine on a table at a restaurant, or if I'm out someplace, people will see it. And, some people ask questions. Some people are just confused of what the sticker is, but it can create a conversation. I was at a Braves game just recently, and you know how they put people's pictures up on the big screen and people try to hurry and get a picture of themselves. And that happened, and a lady pulled out her phone to take her picture, and she had the 3 circles on the back of her phone, and all these people in the stadium saw it. Of course, they obviously, not everybody knew what it meant, but I thought, there's somebody trying to be a witness.
I love that. Randy, as we're wrapping this up right now, if you were standing before your campus and you were just sharing your heart about sharing, what would you want to make sure that you say?
I think if we truly believe that Jesus is more than just a person in a story in a book, and we really believe that heaven and hell are real places, and every single person on the planet that we lock eyes with is going to spend eternity in one of those 2 places. And if we really believe that there is a heavenly Father that wants to have an unconditional love relationship with us, why wouldn't we tell people about that? Why would we keep news like that to ourselves? Why wouldn't we share that? I mean, we love to pass on good news or bad news on Facebook. We love to share scores or somebody that got arrested or this or that. But we have the most important news that anybody could ever know. Why would we not practice, and why would we not learn different ways and methods to share that with the world?
Wow, that's helpful. Thank you for that. You're a good pastor. I appreciate you, man.